So it seems that the bromance between Putin and Trump has been rekindled. And it's not that Putin and Russia is the enemy of the free world. It's Canada, Europe, and Ukraine now that's the enemy of the free world. It's in fact Zelensky who's the dictator and Ukraine who started the war between Ukraine and Russia. It's Ukraine that's on Russia's territory, not Russia that's on Ukrainian territory. Seems like Donald Trump has gotten clicked into the Russian propaganda machine and is eating it up like candy. Putin suggesting that Trump lost the election unfairly in 2020 seems to have really brought this bromance to a new level of intensity. And for whatever reason, J.D. Vance has gone along with it. And it seems that many other people in the Trump team, I'm amazed. You know, the idea that it was Ukraine that started the war with Russia is exactly the kind of propaganda that they feed the people in Russia. And they were feeding them starting back in 2014. That it was somehow a bunch of Nazis that overthrew the Ukrainian government that was the puppet government of Russia, and that this Zelensky regime is somehow totally illegitimate. I'm amazed. Trump seems to, and his team seem to have taken on this ideology that we're going to chastise our friends, namely Canada and Europe, and cozy up to our enemies. I absolutely do not get it. Maybe there's a strategy here that's a little bit beyond me, but I absolutely do not get the whole concept of cozying up to your enemies. And I mean Putin and the people in the vertical of power in the Kremlin have gutted out the entire opposition movement in Russia. They've assassinated and imprisoned and exiled anybody who opposed Putin at all. And yet it's Putin that is the legitimate government, and it's Zelensky who's the dictator and illegitimate. And it's Zelensky who needs to hold elections and not Putin. I mean, you just can't make this shit up. I'm amazed at Trump that he didn't seem to learn anything. I thought naively that Trump would have picked up on a few things after having 4 years off and everything he's been through and being shot and everything like that he'd be like, you know what? In this administration, this time around, I want to learn from my mistakes. I want to get along with my friends, and I want to bring down the temperature and bring down the chaos, the level of chaos that I kind of sowed when I was on Twitter. And I'm just going to try to be quiet, calm, and do the right thing, and just be a kind of an equalizing force, be a calming force in this whole chaotic world. Oh no, Trump's gone completely the other way, stirring up chaos, irritating our allies, and now cozying up to our enemies. I'm just absolutely, honestly disgusted and worried. I mean, we've had, say what you will about NATO, it's not perfect. We've paid out the nose for the last 80 years of peace to have a global order where borders are more or less respected, and more than less. And now it seems like that whole thing is breaking down, and it's back to everybody. It's just survival of the fittest, and might is right. That's a terrifying world to live in when you got 8 billion people competing for dwindling natural resources and a bunch of nuclear weapons. I do not get it. I would think that you'd want to solidify your friendships and empower people who want to be your friends and pick on your enemies and kind of keep them down. But no, this bromance between Putin and Trump seems to be the order of the day. And the triangulation, the splitting off of the United States and Europe and other allies like Canada, and then like Marco Rubio was talking about reigniting partnerships with Russia yesterday at the meeting in Saudi Arabia. What the hell? Have we learned nothing? I lived in Russia for 3 years. I got a lot of experience with Russians. I have Russian friends, but that is no place to do business. They do not hardly have a road over there. Why? I mean, Russia, outside of St. Petersburg and Moscow, is tough times. A lot of people are shitting in a hole in the ground. Why? Because the money that was generated by the oil and gas revenue over the past 25 years has been taken by the oligarchs, and they have spent it on buying up London, buying up Dubai, buying up Miami, buying up foreign real estate. Why do they want to do that? Because they're trying to get their money out of Russia. Why do they want to get their money out of Russia? Because they understand it's a bad place to do business. It's a horrible place to do business. Why? Because the whole entire methodology of the Kremlin, Putin regime, is to keep the people down. Keep them desperate, just barely keep them going. And then once they start to rise up a little bit, start another war. Galvanize support to go after some enemy someplace, kill a bunch of people, exhaust the population, and then let them kind of eke by for a while, and then start another war with somebody else. And in the meantime, take all the profit from all the gas and all the oil and invest it, have the oligarchs invest it in properties overseas and spend money like drunken sailors in port. And we're now supposed to call Zelensky a dictator and that they invaded Russia. You know, one thing about Ukraine that's true, it is corrupt. That Slavic part of the world over there, all the post-Soviet countries, there is a lot of corruption. A lot of people, a lot of the oligarchs in Ukraine have taken their money and bought up foreign real estate too. So, I mean, they're no angels. And I get why Trump would want to make sure that our money is being well spent. And I think there should be some oversight. But to actually repeat Russian propaganda, that it's Ukraine that has an illegitimate government and that's they that started the war and that's them that are on Russian land, I do not get it, Trump. I do not get it. Sowing outrage, chaos, and emotional upset at a time when we all so much need calm, accountability, and trust. If I was in Europe right now, any of the European allies, and I was listening to this rhetoric from Trump, I'd be terrified. And I think there's a huge risk that Europe is going to split off, and there is going to be this triangulation between the major powers. And who knows how China's going to fit into that. If any of our allies across the world, I don't know how they can trust us when we help Ukraine out to fend off an attack from a bloodthirsty sociopath. And now we write up a deal where they owe us $500 billion in perpetuity. We're supposed to have access to all their mineral rights. I mean, that's like helping somebody out who's an immigrant, buying them a car, getting them a smartphone, and then writing up a contract with them that they owe half of everything they make, and their children, they owe it too. That's not helping somebody. That's called exploitation. And maybe you could call it colonialization. I hate to say I'm disgusted by the Trump administration in the first month here, because I so much want him to succeed after how horrible Biden was, and he was awful. But golly, all this nonsense about the bromance with Putin and chastising our best friends in the world. What a fiasco. I hope it changes soon, real soon. It's pretty disturbing to me.